Hello, I'm Steve Jenkins and I'm one of the volunteers who helps organise and work at Claver Hill, and welcome to Claver Hill Community Farm Project. There are a number of projects on the site and we all come on and work together to grow and learn about growing food, as well as having a good time working together.
I'm Caroline Jackson. I was one of the two people who originally saw this site and brought it together a long time ago. Well, it feels like a long time ago. It's only about 10 years. Starting with an empty field we didn't know what to do with, it has grown into a community of people whose common objective is to grow food together, but grow community together and really enjoy ourselves and be outside.
Claver Hill as an idea grew out of the thought that we need more local food growing, but we need people to know more about local food. And the more we started to think about it and do it, the more we felt perhaps we needed a space where people could grow together, learn how to work together, learn how to be together, as well as grow food.
We've been here about 10 years. When we came, there was a bare, empty field, and we had a lot of help from someone called Alan Schofield, who used to run Growing with Nature. And we volunteered with him for a while and learned how to grow food, and then he helped us with getting the land back into good heart and knowing what to grow. So we just started by saying, well, people, please turn up, please come here. And a few people turned up, and we just started to begin to excavate some beds, grow food together. And then we got some help from Les, and we got some money. It did take a bit of money to start us up because we didn't have a toilet. That was a big drawback. And we didn't have anywhere to shelter, and we didn't have anywhere to put our tools. And when we got our container, our 2 polytunnels and our compost toilet, then we were all set to go.
This is our treasure from trash herb garden. You'll spot things in here. A lot of the original ideas when things were being set up by Joy and Caroline right at the start, a lot of us were involved in Transition City Lancaster, so we kind of brought with us ideas about recycling, reusing, not throwing things away. How could we make better use of things? So a lot of it went in here. Everything just about you see on the site is somebody else's rubbish. But I mean, in some instances, even some of the plants, things that people didn't want. I'm not quite sure where the canoe came from though.
The community just came about really by word of mouth. We did try and publicise ourselves. We got our pictures in the paper, we got the word out there that we were doing things, and people turned up. To start with, it was very fluid, very free and easy, and the main thing was we got going with something called Spud Club, which was just a group of people who came together on a Sunday afternoon, who created food growing beds, took away the produce, and just got to know each other, had tea together, ate cake together, and it was a really eclectic community right from the start, with people from Lancaster who had come in from outside, often from other countries. Sometimes maybe they would just connect with us because it's food. People from university, a few people of the local estate. It was a kind of complete mix of people, and ages, real mix of ages as well. So it was really organic to start with. Then we set ourselves up, and we had got a constitution. We set ourselves up and we decided, Joy and I, that this place was for letting people have a chunk of space to do community things together, however you wanted to do it.
These 3 beds here, which you can see, these pretty raised beds, we gave over to the Sewing Cafe for the Natural Dyes project. They look absolutely delightful, and they've had about 3 or 4 different crops of plants and dyes for their projects, and they've had sessions on site teaching people about how to make and produce and dye cloths naturally. It's quite amazing.
One of the big things we've got is a refugee group who come on a Sunday and garden quite a big bit behind this polytunnel. We've got somebody who does bees, we've got a flower farm. The flower farm is a tryout to try and become a commercial enterprise, and we've always supported people who wanted just to see what they could do in terms of running a commercial enterprise without having to pay initially for the space.
This is Maren and Laura Horseshoe Flowers area, these beds. and they've done really well. They wanted a space to be able to try out growing more natural flowers, and they've brought on all of these lovely pollinators onto the site, and it's been a delight. These brassica beds here, some of which need some desperate attention, cut all the flowers off. These were where we grew most of our garlic this year. So we had about, I don't know, as I said, about 800 garlic in here. These are cabbages. This grew one big head of cabbage, and we do cut and come again with cabbages. So you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 5 heads of cabbage coming off one cabbage, and there's another 5 there and another there. This area here where you can see these are various types of brassica plant that you can see growing under these nets here. These grew our overwinter onions, which I'll show you at the other end of the site because they're drying off now. So this is the second crop in this area this year. Some of the beds which are now empty are waiting for their overwinter crops to go in, so they will get a second crop this year. Where we take out the potatoes, we'll start to sow onions, and there may be some more things like overwinter broccoli and things like that. In here, this is normally where we bring on all of our seedlings for early in the year, so this would normally be full of young seedlings, and it's also where we would have meetings and things like that when it's raining. But at this time of year, its main role is to dry out onions and garlic, and these are the first batch. These are the overwinter onions. These are grown from seed, sown back in October, November, and harvested a few weeks ago, and just drying out. I think they're absolutely magnificent. Beautiful crop.
The polytunnels themselves, they've got various things happening, like the one you're in grows food in order to sell it, in order to pay our insurance and some of our infrastructure charges, and that way everybody can enjoy the site without us having to charge them. So we don't charge groups for being here. So we support people in all different ways, whether it's for their health, people come here because they like to be outdoors, because it's peaceful. We support people who want to grow food because they want to improve their both their diet and also the amount of money they've got. And we support people who are trying to fit in, and so like the refugee groups who need an open space, an area where, if you like, the sociability is not based on anything else, but here we are in this space, enjoying this space and enjoying each other's company.
I would encourage people, if they know nothing about growing food, but they are looking for some friends, want to have a nice group of people to work with, want to share your thoughts, or just want to come and be quiet in a field, even if all you want to do is let go of your busy working week for a couple of hours and just not think about anything. It's a great place to do that. You don't need to book, you don't need to pay, you can just come along and join in.
It's good for your mind, it's good for your body. In terms of the food you get, it's so tasty, you don't want to buy things after you've tried it. Pop round and have a tomato. The tomatoes are fantastic. You don't need a lot of rules when you're standing on a field. We look after each other. People are concerned about each other's welfare, and it's always been a peaceful place.
This is the edible flower circle. The only ones that aren't edible are the sweet peas, but you can devour those with your senses because they're absolutely delightful. And lots of people just help maintain this, and we have our pizza oven there, and we often have our tea breaks and lunch breaks in this space here, and sometimes we have little parties in here, or big parties. Because
the areas belong to groups, it's not like allotments which can get very territorial, and I know because I've been on allotments, and some of them run fantastically, but there are problems, and we didn't want to have those problems. That's why each area is for a community group, and the community runs itself. It's been the kind of place that hasn't chased funding, because that becomes a different sort of organisation. And actually what we've done is we've got the funding for the infrastructure we needed, and then a lot of it is down to individuals and the generosity and the time they give.
How can I put this? It's no one's job, but it's everyone's job. And it's everybody's right to be part of it, to help develop it, to help shape it. Join in as much or as little as you want or you can. whether that's half an hour a month or every day of the week. It can be any and all. But what you will get is a lot of good people to be with, a lot of fun, and a lot of very good organic food to eat all around the year, all through the year.
I think the advice I'd give to people who wanted to do something like this is you need to find your space. It doesn't need to be a flat field like we've got, but you need your space because the space is what nurtures you and you nurture it. And then as people, you need to have just a few people who really love to be outdoors and to do the growing and to be with other people, and just a few people who are going to get their satisfaction from actually being involved, and from that grows the individual, grows the relationships, because it has with us been all about good relationships all the way through, and those good relationships spread outwards. So as an organisation, Claver Hill has lots and lots of good relationships with other organisations. We're as generous as we can be. If people want to do something on our space, invite them in to do it, because it's amazing what comes out of it, because for everything you give, you get so much back again. And it's just about that kernel of being the group that starts it, wanting to benefit as people as widely as possible. And we've been fantastically lucky in that's the kind of people that have come here and have stayed here and have attracted other people.